I'm JJ Ramberg, and welcome to Your Business, the show dedicated to helping your small business grow. From tax and immigration reform to healthcare and trade policy changes, President-elect Trump has put a lot on the table that will have an effect on small businesses nationwide. And now that the GOP has control of both houses and the presidency, what can small business owners expect in 2017 when it comes to the issues that matter to them most? Recently re-elected Republican Congressman Steve Chabot of Ohio is the chairman of the House Small Business Committee. He joins us from Washington to shed some light. So good to see you again, Congressman.
Oh, thank you, JJ. It's great to be with you again.
Yes, we love having you on the show. When you talk to small business owners over the past 11 years, the one thing that says is the hardest for them, almost over anything else, is uncertainty. And so many small business owners are feeling uncertain right now. And I mean, if we just look at the overtime rules, right? They were supposed to go in effect today where the overtime rules changed. You'd have to pay people overtime if they made more money than they used to. And now they're not in effect anymore. Lots of small businesses made changes to deal with that. And now suddenly it's off the table, at least for now. So what do you tell small business owners who just don't know what's coming ahead?
Well, you're absolutely right, JJ. Uncertainty is one of the things that small businesses in particular face, and they don't like it. It's hard to plan for it, whether it's regulations or taxation, or in this case, as you mentioned, the overtime rule. And what happened here, and I have to say, we've been getting complaints, concern from small businesses all across America about this overtime rule, and a federal judge in Texas stepped in and granted a temporary injunction. So it stopped. It was supposed to go into effect December 1st, and that's now at least temporarily been stayed. Now, you're right. Some people did already implement some changes in advance, but so many businesses are so opposed to not only the rule itself, but how it was implemented by the bureaucrats in this case, that they're mostly happy to see it stopped, but you'd hope that it could be done in a logical way rather than have to have the courts step in.
Okay, so what do you tell small business owners? I know you talk to so many of them all the time in your position. What do you tell them, people who are worried, wait, is the healthcare law going to change? How's that going to affect my business? Are taxes going to change? How's that going to affect? Is immigration going to change?
Well, we tell them to stay tuned. I think the cavalry is coming in January where we can actually get some things done. I don't want to get real political here, JJ, but I have to say for the last 8 years or so, too often the administration has kind of looked at the business community, including small businesses, as the bad guys. They are the people that we couldn't trust to treat their employees well or not rip off the public. That's wrong, I believe, but that's kind of been the attitude. So I hope that the new administration, and I believe this is going to have a very different viewpoint here, and we'll have somebody that we can work with so we can scale back some of these regulations and red tape that have been coming from left field and right field, and how do you put up with all this stuff? Well, I think things are going to get better. Only time will tell, but we're going to hit the ground running as soon as the new administration is sworn in. We're going to try to reduce some of those regulations. The president-elect has said, for example, for every regulation that comes, every new regulation, he would like to see 2 regulations repealed. I like that attitude.
It is an attitude, right? There's no specifics on that. It would be hard to have specifics at this point, perhaps. Right. But as the chair of the Small Business Committee, what does your committee hope to see, at least within the next year? What would your dream be?
We got a lot on our plate, and I already mentioned, let's get rid of a lot of these regulations that we really don't need. Let's simplify the tax code. We're working on that right now. We're working closely with Chairman Kevin Brady, who's from Texas, and he's the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. We need to simplify this tax code, make it simpler, fairer to everybody, especially small businesses. We need to get rid of some of the more burdensome things that small businesses are dealing with right now, like the Affordable Care Act or Unaffordable Care Act or Obamacare, whatever terminology you prefer. But almost every business person I've talked to has talked about their premiums going up, skyrocketing. We've seen the deductions going up.
Do you believe, since the GOP controls the presidency and Congress, do you think you will actually get to change some things that, at least in your opinion, will help small business? Will things happen?
I really think they will. We're dedicated to doing that in the Small Business Committee. Fortunately, on that committee, we have a pretty good working relationships with the Democrats on the committee, especially the ranking member, Nydia Velázquez from New York. And we're going to work on that committee to actually make some changes, get those to the floor of the House, and hopefully get the Senate to pass these things and get them on the president's desk. But, you know, reducing regulations, simplifying the tax code, repealing and replacing Obamacare, those have to be the top things, but also Dodd-Frank, access to capital. If you're a business person and want to expand a business or start a business to begin with, you need money. And Dodd-Frank, which was legislation passed that was supposed to affect the so-called too-big-to-fail banks, it was a reaction to the economic meltdown some years ago, has actually affected community banks and credit unions. It's harder to get money, and so it's harder to grow your business. That's something else that we need to devote a lot of attention to.
You know, and thank you so much for spending so much time talking to business owners, because what I hope, and again, whether you are a small business person who agrees with these changes or not, the time it's going to take to see what happens makes it very hard for many people to run their business. And so I know you're doing a lot to let people in Washington know that, but I hope people really understand that uncertainty and sometimes is almost worse than dealing with something that you don't want to happen. So thank you so much for coming, taking the time to come on and talk with us, and I hope to speak with you many times over the next year.
Thanks, JJ, and we need to have you come and testify before Congress again. You did a great job last time.
Thank you so much.